Why Leonor is being trained like a soldier. In August 2023, cameras recorded a moment that had little ceremony and no spectacle. Princess Leonor of Spain, the Princess of Asturias and heir to the Spanish throne, boarded a military bus at the General Military Academy in Zaragoza. She wore the same uniform as every other cadet. No special insignia, no separate protocol. In institutional terms, this moment mattered more than many formal appearances. It marked the beginning of a mandatory phase of preparation defined not by symbolism but by constitutional responsibility. What many observers don't fully understand is why this training exists at all, or why it looks so rigorous for a future constitutional monarch with no governing power. By the end of this video, the reasoning becomes clear. This is not about combat, image, or tradition for its own sake. It is about the modern role of the Spanish crown, the structure of the state, and how leadership is prepared when authority is symbolic but responsibility is real. Princess Leonor's military training did not emerge suddenly, nor was it improvised. It is rooted in Spain's constitutional framework, established after the democratic transition of the late 20th century. Under the Spanish Constitution of 1978, the monarch serves as head of state and supreme commander of the armed forces. While executive power rests firmly with elected officials, the crown maintains an institutional relationship with the military as a guarantor of constitutional continuity and national unity. This role is deliberately non-political. The monarch does not issue orders or shape policy. Instead, the function is one of representation, legitimacy, and constitutional symbolism. For this reason, familiarity with military institutions is not optional. It is considered essential preparation, ensuring that the future head of state understands the structures, culture, and responsibilities of Spain's armed forces. Princess Leonor's path mirrors that of her father, King Felipe VI, who underwent the same multi-branch military education in the 1980s. This continuity is not about preserving an image of authority, but about reinforcing institutional credibility. The military, as a state institution, requires confidence that its ceremonial leader understands its mission and constraints. This principle has guided the training of heirs in Spain for decades. To understand why this matters, it helps to look at Spain's historical experience. During much of the 20th century, the relationship between the military and political power was unstable. The democratic constitution deliberately redefined that relationship, placing the armed forces firmly under civilian control while retaining the monarch as a neutral constitutional figure. Military training for the heir serves as a stabilizing signal. It reinforces the idea that the crown belongs to the constitutional order, not to partisan interests. By participating in structured, regulated military education, the heir becomes familiar with the norms of democratic oversight, international cooperation, and professional discipline that define modern European armed forces. This is not ceremonial immersion. The curriculum includes leadership ethics, constitutional law, operational structure, and joint service coordination. Physical training is present, but it is not the objective. The goal is institutional literacy. And over time, this literacy shapes how the future monarch interacts with defense leaders, international partners, and state ceremonies that carry diplomatic weight. The first phase of Princess Leonor's training takes place at the General Military Academy, a central institution for officer education in Spain. Here, cadets from across the country train together under standardized conditions. The princess is treated as a cadet first and an heir second, a distinction that is essential to the credibility of the process. This environment emphasizes hierarchy, accountability, and collective responsibility. Cadets learn to operate within structured command systems, to respect institutional authority, and to function as part of a team. These principles align closely with constitutional monarchy, where authority exists within clearly defined limits and responsibilities are exercised through restraint. Public reporting confirms that Princess Leonor follows the same schedule and requirements as her peers. This approach reflects a broader European trend. When monarchies adapt to modern expectations, they do so by emphasizing professionalism over privilege. The absence of exemptions reinforces public trust and signals institutional seriousness. Military training also serves a diplomatic purpose. As future head of state, Princess Leonor will represent Spain in international contexts where military protocol remains relevant. State visits, NATO-related ceremonies, and commemorations of historical alliances all require a working understanding of defense traditions and institutional language. This preparation ensures that interactions with foreign leaders, defense officials, and multinational organizations are informed and respectful. It also prevents the crown from becoming a purely ceremonial figure disconnected from key state institutions. In a global environment where credibility is shaped by competence, this understanding carries long-term value. European monarchies increasingly emphasize this dimension. The British royal family, for example, maintains strong ties to military institutions, even as operational authority remains civilian. The same principle applies in the Netherlands, Norway, and Belgium. Military familiarity supports diplomatic fluency, not political power. Another often misunderstood aspect of this training is its relationship to leadership development. Military academies are designed to teach decision-making under pressure, ethical responsibility, and long-term planning. These skills translate directly into the non-executive leadership role of a constitutional monarch. Princess Leonor's future responsibilities will include presiding over state ceremonies, representing Spain during national moments, and serving as a symbol of continuity during political transitions. These moments require composure, clarity, and institutional awareness. Military education provides a structured environment where these qualities are developed through practice, not theory. Importantly, this preparation avoids personalization. The focus is not on shaping an individual personality, but on embedding institutional values. This distinction helps explain why the training is standardized and public. It belongs to the office, not the person. The training path extends beyond a single academy. Publicly available plans indicate that Princess Leonor will rotate through the Army, Navy, and Air Force, mirroring the structure followed by King Felipe VI. This comprehensive approach ensures familiarity with all branches under the constitutional role of Supreme Commander. Each branch contributes a different institutional perspective. Naval training emphasizes international presence and maritime responsibility. Air Force instruction focuses on technological coordination and strategic planning. Together, these experiences provide a holistic view of national defense as a cooperative system rather than a singular force. This rotation also reinforces the idea of balance. No single branch dominates the narrative. The future monarch's role is to represent unity across institutions, not to privilege one over another. Public reaction to Princess Leonor's training has been largely measured, reflecting Spain's evolved understanding of monarchy. Coverage has focused on institutional significance rather than spectacle. This framing aligns with the broader goal of maintaining the crown's legitimacy in a democratic society. By grounding the narrative in constitutional duty rather than tradition alone, the monarchy positions itself as relevant and accountable. Military training becomes one component of a broader preparation that includes academic education, international exposure, and public service. Each element reinforces the others, creating a coherent framework for future leadership. This balance is critical. Overemphasis on symbolism risks alienation. Overemphasis on informality risks institutional erosion. The current approach reflects careful calibration. Historical parallels offer additional insight. Throughout Europe, monarchies that have endured into the 21st century share a common trait: adaptation without abandonment of core responsibilities. Military preparation, when framed as constitutional education, fits this pattern. In Sweden, heirs receive structured defense briefings. In Norway, royal involvement in military ceremonies reinforces national unity. Spain's approach is distinctive in its depth, reflecting its unique historical context and constitutional design. But the underlying principle remains consistent. Legitimacy is maintained through informed participation, not passive inheritance. Princess Leonor's training can therefore be understood as part of a broader European conversation about modern monarchy. It is less about continuity with the past and more about alignment with contemporary governance. Another important dimension is public accountability. By conducting this training openly and within established institutions, the monarchy invites scrutiny. This transparency supports democratic norms and counters perceptions of insulation or privilege. Public documentation, official statements, and consistent messaging ensure that the process remains visible and understandable. This openness reinforces trust, particularly among younger generations who expect institutions to justify their relevance. Military training, in this context, becomes a shared reference point. It demonstrates effort, structure, and respect for public institutions, values that extend beyond the monarchy itself. As Princess Leonor progresses through this phase of preparation, the broader significance becomes clearer. This is not an isolated chapter, but part of a long-term institutional strategy. Each stage builds toward a role defined by service rather than authority. The military component complements her academic studies and public engagements. Together, they form a preparation model grounded in responsibility, restraint, and representation. This model reflects Spain's constitutional reality and its expectations of the crown. And over time, these experiences will shape how the future monarch embodies her role, not through command, but through understanding. Ultimately, the question is not why Princess Leonor is being trained like a soldier, but what that training represents. It represents a constitutional monarchy that takes its responsibilities seriously. It represents an institution adapting to democratic norms without abandoning its symbolic role. And it represents a vision of leadership grounded in preparation rather than assumption. In that sense, the training is less about the individual and more about the office she will one day hold. It reflects a belief that credibility is earned through knowledge, discipline, and respect for institutions. And in that moment, the responsibility becomes clearer. The broader takeaway is straightforward. Leadership, especially in symbolic roles, requires preparation that is visible, structured, and grounded in public responsibility. Constitutional monarchy endures not by resisting change, but by integrating it thoughtfully. Princess Leonor's military training offers a clear example of how modern institutions balance tradition with accountability. It is a reminder that preparation matters, not for power, but for trust. Only 1 in 10 viewers here is subscribed. If you value thoughtful insights into royalty and leadership, join the community.